Every year in India, thousands of people survive road accidents, only to discover that survival does not guarantee justice, especially in cases of brain and spinal injury. Families enter courtrooms carrying stories of memory loss, personality change, impaired judgment, or loss of independence. Injuries that are real, devastating, and yet often invisible to the law. Our legal system has traditionally relied on symptom-based or percentage-based disability assessments. But the brain does not work in percentages. A person may appear physically fine, yet be unable to work, make decisions, or participate meaningfully in life. This gap between medical reality and legal recognition has left many neurological survivors undercompensated and misunderstood. This is where a new idea, Neuro Justice, comes in. Recently at NIMHANS in Bengaluru, functional neurosurgeon Dr. Sharan Srinivasan and neurorehabilitation expert Dr. Prathiba Sharan launched the Neuro Justice Trilogy along with the Neuro Justice Framework Handbook. Together, these works ask a fundamental question. How can justice be delivered if the brain, the organ that governs function, behavior, and recovery, is not fully understood in court? The trilogy moves from understanding the brain itself to what happens during injury, trauma, and delayed care, and finally to how functional disability is assessed, rehabilitated, and interpreted by the justice system. The accompanying handbook translates this science into a practical framework that courts can actually use, shifting the focus from what injury occurred to how this person's life has changed. Today, we speak with both authors to unpack what neurojustice really means, why India's courts struggle with neurological injury, and how a function-based approach could reshape compensation, rehabilitation, and dignity for accident survivors, not just in courtrooms, but in everyday life. Thank you so much, doctors, for joining us today for this special interview. Before we begin, the first thing I would like to ask both of you is that what do we even mean by neurojustice and neurorehabilitation?
Hi, Akshata. I'm Dr. Sharan, a functional neurosurgeon. So let me answer the question first. What is a functional neurosurgeon? Because a lot of people asked me when I said that is, are some neurosurgeons dysfunctional or are you functioning more? He asked me that question. So as you understand, we have the MBBS, then you have the MS or MD, that's the broad specialty. Then we have the super specialization like cardiology, cardiac surgery, neurology, neurosurgery. So it's a super specialization, which is 6 years after 5.5 years MBBS. After that, all of us subspecialize in some field or the other. Some remain as general neurosurgeons. Some of them specialize as endovascular neurosurgery, skull-based neurosurgery, spine neurosurgery, pediatric neurosurgery, and there's a subset of neurosurgery fellowship called stereotactic and functional neurosurgery, which is what people like me have trained in. I have trained in Japan for this. There are different centers in the world that train us for that. And basically, functional neurosurgery is how to improve functioning of patients who are dysfunctional because of neurological issues. Like somebody has a tremor of the hand, somebody's neck is going like this, somebody has Parkinson's, somebody has tight hand because of toxicity. Yes. So things like that. So how do I can we help epilepsy, a lot of pain, things like that? How do we make this? So that is what is functional neurosurgery. So as a functional neurosurgeon, my fundamental interest and work is to check functional brain circuits, not structural brain circuits. How does it work? So that's how so it's much natural for me. Coming to the neuro justice, see, I've been in practice as a neurosurgeon for the last 25 plus years, since the year 2000, and for more than 20 years I've been going to the courts to give evidence in motor vehicle accident cases purely as a social obligation. See, we treat a lot of neurotrauma, head injuries, spinal cord injuries. So after treating them, all of them don't recover 100%. So somebody like me as an expert has to go to the court and give an evidence that he's still not normal, he's got disability, he cannot function like before. And we have to make some calculation percentage based on whatever is currently available. We give them extra money as compensation money. So the court gives two kinds of money: insurance, the motor vehicle insurance settlements. One is the money that is spent during treatment. You put the bills and they will give it. There's no controversy in that, plus minus few things. The next money is the money that is because of disability. If the person is not able to work like before or is not able to work at all, then what is the impact on him, family, future, and everything else, and a lot of different things. And they put some figures on that. But the problem in neurological orthopedics is reasonably well defined. But neurologically, it's very, very, very difficult because nobody understands functional neurosurgery. It's very, very important to understand this. Like, you have kidney function tests, liver function tests, heart function tests, lung function tests. There's no brain function test in the world. So you can't go to a lab or something and say, measure my brain functions. And you can't say my brain function is better than somebody else and things like that. If you take a simple thing like you draw a blood sample and do a blood test of any of us, we get a report. Report has two numbers. It has your number and the number next to it, which is the normative range.
Average
Neither,
or range.
yes, neither of these numbers are available in neuroscience in the world today. So when you don't know what is the starting point and where it's heading and it's variable from person to person, it's impossible or very difficult to, it's a challenge for all of us,
Right.
the doctors, judges, lawyers, what. So it's like, all of us are groping in the dark trying to make some method of this whole process. So coming back, so I've gone to the court more than 3,000 times in the last 18, 20 years to give evidence. And, the more I've gone there, the more I realize that it's not organized well. I started organizing it for my own benefit to communicate better. And that affidavits became a standard of care. A lot of those lawyers started telling other neurosurgeons, "Sir, write your affidavit like this. It is helping the court." And it became like, they started liking what
Procedural
I did.
aspect of.
Correct. So that, they at least say, okay, at least this is making more sense than what was happening in the past and things like that. Then, Dr. Prathiba does the memory assessments, which she will talk about. So both of us then got co-opted into the Karnataka Judicial Academy to educate the judges about the finer nuances about neurology and functional damages to the brain circuits and the spinal cord circuits. And in the last about 6 7 years we trained more than 1,000 judges on this, educated them. And the more they started hearing, they said, "Doctor, I think times you should write a book because very few people, very few of us understand. It's not a specialization that we expect them to understand. Papa, they have their own challenges at the
Yeah.
end of the day. It is the job of people like us, experts, who go that extra mile to educate the people in that system, so that and I should talk to in English. We can't talk in jargon.
Yeah.
So, like for example, I start my first talk always by showing this pen and ask everybody what is this, and everybody says it's a pen. And I ask the next question: Is your eyes telling you it's a pen or brain telling you it's a pen? And immediately the question is, you always say no, kan kan sola, or you say ang nahi dikta kya? They never say brain nahi dikta kya. It's like that. So it's a very interesting question. So many people say eyes, many people say brain, and they say brain because the neurosurgeon is asking the question. And I ask people, imagine you're sleeping now. I carefully open an eyelid and show the pen. Do you see the pen? They said no. Are you blind? They said no. Then why don't you see the pen? Because eye is on, brain is off. Is your tongue telling you vanilla ice cream or brain telling you vanilla ice cream? So ear telling you Sonu Nigam song or brain telling you Sonu Nigam song? It's amazing what is possible. You put your kidney to me, same susu. My kidney to you, same susu. Your heart to me, same dub dub. My heart to you, same dub dub. Same millionaire flavored activity from the day we are born to the day we die. But your brain to me, Akshata, cannot do neurosurgery. My brain to you cannot do what you're doing because the hardware is the same, software is different. And that is the fundamental difference that I want all the viewers to understand, that this is not anybody's fault. It's a challenge for us to understand how the software of the brain works. And I always say I'm the hardware person, she's the software person. I hand it over to Dr. Prathiba to tell you about the software problems of the brain.
Yes, Dr. Prathiba.
Yeah, hi Akshata. Thank you for this opportunity to share our views with more bigger population. I'm a medical doctor. Both Dr. Sharan and me were medical college classmates and from Bangalore Medical College. After that, I did a course in counseling and neuropsychology from NIMHANS. So I started dealing with the patients who have had head injury or stroke or any kind of trauma to the brain, um, basically to find out if they have any cognitive or behavioral functions, any deficits. Now, there are many patients who look normal, like they're walking, they're talking, they're like you and me. But then when we do the tests, like Dr. Sharan said, it's a software which is not working. We find a lot of impairments in that person. But to look at, he looks like a normal person. So it's like you can't tell the mileage of a car without moving the car. A parked car's mileage, you can't really say. So you have to run it to say the mileage. So similarly, we have to run the test to find out how his each part of the brain, which does different functions, how is it working. So I do the cognitive memory assessments and the behavioral assessments for the patients who have these kind of head injuries because of either road traffic accident or fall from height. They could have had issues, or sometimes even things like stroke and any brain impact which happens. But neurojustice, we are talking more about the traumatic brain injury, that is the trauma to the brain, the injury to the brain which has happened because of a road traffic accident or a fall. Yeah. So that is what neurojustice covers. So like Dr. Sharan said, the software problems, as much as we see, patients have broken bones or they are unable to walk because of weakness on one side, we call it hemiparesis because of a brain injury itself. But that is visible. You can see it. But
Physically
somebody
visible.
who's walking, yeah, you can't really make out what is the problem with this person. So when we do the evaluation, we find a lot of patients have memory issues, they have attention issues, they have executive function issues, they have behavioral issues, they have short-term memory, like they eat breakfast in the morning and they're again asking, I have not eaten breakfast, give me something to eat. As simple as that, right? So they would have said some conversation they would have had with somebody, and 2 minutes later they've forgotten what they've spoken. So when they come to rehab, we have to keep on repeating the same thing again and again and again, because every second minute they would have, it's like Gajni movie, you remember?
Yeah, the
That
main
he has a
character, Amir
every
Khan's
10
character,
15
does.
minutes span and then he forgets, right? So that is why he's writing all over his body and in the post-it slips and everywhere possible he's trying to, because he can't recollect so easily, so he's making some compensatory techniques to recollect. So these patients are like Gajini patients, so they forget immediately, they forget. So for them we run, well, your second statement was neuro rehabilitation, where we take these patients and work with them based on what impairments they have. We keep on doing the retraining programs for them, behavioral programs and cognitive retraining programs. And it takes sometimes 2 months to 6 months to 1 year. It depends on how severe the injury is. So this is what we do in the rehabilitation program. So how to evaluate the patient when he looks normal to the court? Their question is, this guy is looking normal.
Yeah.
What problem does he have? So now with the neuropsychological assessment, when we show how much deficit is there, court can understand that this is the problem the patient has. So now he can't go back to the work what he used to do before. Now, if he's forgetting every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, what work will he do? Suppose he was a banker or a lawyer or whatever the profession, doctor, any profession, or a salesperson. He cannot remember. So, how can he perform? And if they have a behavioral problem, they obviously cannot deal with people. They get impatient very easily, they get aggressive very soon. Sometimes I have heard patients' families saying, he was such a soft spoken, such a nice, dignified person. He uses abusive language and shouts and yells at people now, which is like completely, somebody
Opposite
different.
to what
Yeah,
their new behavior
completely
was.
opposite. uh, on the other hand, we have people who were very good in talking, very communicative and things like that, suddenly becomes after the injury, like he is so dejected and he just doesn't want to open up and talk to anybody, doesn't want to meet people, just sits in one corner, not interested in anything. So these are the behavioral changes they can have. So it's a completely different person they become. Now, with this kind of a deficit, which you can't see, it's
Yeah.
unseen deficit. Now, they cannot go back to work and perform and earn the money. Now, if this person happens to be a breadwinner of the family, usually this road traffic accidents happen in majority male population, and in the working time between maybe 25, 30 to about 50 years of age. That's the prime age where they are growing in their careers. They are, getting promotions and things like that, and they have lost out now. If they lose out on the earning, imagine a family of four. Suppose he has two small children and a wife who's at home because of the children. Now his earning is stopped. Wife cannot leave him and go out to work. Now, where do the children get the money to go to school or whatever it is? So,
Family function
in fact, it is
takes
not just, yeah, it's not just for the one person, it is the whole family which is impacted. So it is a big problem. It may be seen as unseen problem, but it is impacting so many lives. So to bring this to in front of first of all doctors who deal with the patients in the MVC cases, the lawyers, the judges, everybody, patient caregivers. Sometimes patient caregivers, when they come to me, I ask them, okay, what have you come here for? They say, answer is, मुझे नहीं पता, lawyer ने भेजा तो we have come. So they said, ये scan करा के आओ, इसीलिए we have come. So they actually don't know why they've come. Or they say, no, insurance will, if you do this test, we'll get insurance money. So we have come. So they actually don't know what the problem is, and they don't know why they've come to me. So this neurojustice book is all about educating not only just the judges or the lawyers or the doctors. It is also for the general public who need to be aware of. Like I was giving a simple example in one of the talks that remember COVID times, first wave of COVID, everybody panicked because nobody knew what it was. Everybody was scared. Second wave of COVID, it was actually bad, but people had half information, a lot of deaths happened, but their awareness started going up. The third wave of COVID, nobody even bothered because I think every household they knew how to treat a cold and a cough, and you have to just wear a mask, take some steam inhalation and gargling and all that, stay quarantined, stay at home, don't go to work, this kind of stuff. The awareness is what I'm talking about. So similar to that, if we can bring in awareness about this neurojustice, I think that will help a lot of people know what is happening with their lives. So the whole this neurojustice is not just a book, it is a movement that we are starting, where this is I guess it's the first small step we've taken, and this cannot be done just with 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 of us. It has to be done with everybody, all of us putting our efforts together. Each of us have a role to play. Right? So that is my take on neurojustice.
Thank you. Also, the book mentions about moving from symptom-based to function-based justice system. Can you help us understand what does it mean in brief, if any of
Sure. Sure, I'll explain that to you. So just give you a simple example before that. Dr. Prathiba said about stroke. So all of you know stroke. Any person, Lakwa stroke. The moment you remember stroke, what happens? You see a patient who's one side paralyzed, not walking properly, hand is not working, and some speech problem. Correct? This is you don't realize nothing else is connected to stroke in this world. So, see, you can have a similar stroke-like problem even in a head injury. Left side of the brain controls right side of the body, right side brain controls left side of the body. So, when the left side of the brain gets damaged to control right side of the body, right side of the body gets paralyzed. So, I had one such case where right side body paralyzed because of the head injury, and I said he's got an upper limb, lower limb weakness because of head injury. A senior insurance lawyer who was in cross-examining asked me, "Are you an orthopedic surgeon?" I said, no. I said, why are you giving limb disability? You are not supposed to give limb disability. Limb disability is orthopedic problem. So I tried to make him understand, see, no, this is nerve problem, weakness, this. He asked me the same question next 15 minutes, 5 times, thinking that I was saying a lie. I mean, I can't blame him. Then I had to tell you an example, requesting the judge. I said, sir, if the bulb or the socket is not working, it is orthopedics. For us, from Sharavati, we have to check where that current is going. Circuit is good. So what I'm trying to make you understand is people are not even aware that the limb weakness can happen because of a brain injury and not because of only orthopedic injury. So you can understand how much the knowledge doesn't exist, and it's every. I mean, it's. I always say it's probably our fault because as neurosurgeons we are so high, busy treating patients. Nobody had the time to go and educate. It's. I mean, it's just that everybody has got stuck in their own ways because the population and everything else is going like that. So what happens is today, symptom based means I'm having a stroke. He's got a weakness. With that weakness, what he can do, what he cannot do, who knows? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Today, how do you assess? Now I'll give you an example. They want whole body disability is one of the things the court expects, which is physical disability. Okay. Now I gave an example to one of the lawyers at that time, again in the box after taking the permission from the judge, that at that time he still had the button phone. I said, see, there are how many buttons are there in this phone for making calls? I said 10 buttons, correct? No? 0 to 9 to make phone calls. He said, yes. I said, imagine for the sake of this discussion, the 0 button is not working today. According to you, I asked the lawyer, what is the physical disability of this phone? He looked at me like this. I said, see, out of 10 buttons, one is not working. So 10%, no, logical. What is the functional disability of this phone? I hope you got the message.
Yeah,
It is
that's
100%.
yeah.
So now you see suddenly that the 0 button is more important than a 1 button problem, some other button. I'm just giving you that as an example. Now, if I go today, until I go into WhatsApp and try to attach a video, I don't know whether that feature is working.
Yeah.
My WhatsApp may be working, but the feature to connect the video may not be working. But that may be important for somebody's job.
Yeah.
For example, this is how the brain is working. No MRI scan tells me this. No CT scan tells me this. So can you imagine the struggle all of us are having to know how to convert a symptom of he's not as fast as before, the brain is weak, hand is weak means what? He cannot brush like before, he cannot walk like before. So many things are going on.
So the
So
functionality of the person also completely
yes,
changes, especially after
exactly,
the
no,
accident, when the time period is so low, where most of the time we first look at the physical, visible disabilities that are
correct,
directly there. And on top of
absolutely.
that, then it also becomes a blame of the person that, oh, the person is not doing or probably not trying enough to
Yeah,
keep themselves active. So here,
absolutely.
the brain part, and specifically which part of the brain comes into question, that why is this not functioning? Probably it's not the fault of the person, but rather
Yes,
the
yes.
brain affected.
I agree. So I'll give you another way of explaining this. Remember when we were in school, we had some classmates who used to fail in the class.
Hmm.
All of us have had students, who got 0, 1, 2 in the exam, certain maybe mathematics. But they were like you and me playing, doing tarle, all of those things. And we would make fun of them. Sometimes I would teach them. But I never realized much later about learning disability. In the school, nobody sensitized us about learning disability. I felt so bad. I cried when I realized that I could have helped him. He had a brain problem. So can you imagine how important it is, even at the level of children, to sensitize them that a learning disability in a child is because of a brain issue or not something to make fun about. So it's very, you see, it may be fun for us, but for them it is, prana
So
sankata, as they say.
lifetime
Yeah,
experience, and
yeah,
it affects
that was
everything.
psychological. That is how it is. That is function based.
Okay.
He looked okay, but he's not functioning okay.
Hmm.
Now, and you saw Tare Zameen Par as the classical example of the child doing. So, if you have seen, there are a lot of ways that people are trying to give this information, but the reality is that, it's still in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And the goal of the neurojustice movement is to try to put all these pieces of the puzzle together and move from symptom to function. And the very simple thing we say in Kannada or in Hindi, they say, पहले की तरफ नहीं कर रहा है." Means what? My phone is not working like before. You go and tell that fellow. What does it mean? Like before means what? Correct? No, it's not booting like before. It's not fast like before. It's hanging. Something you go and tell him in your own vague way. That engineer has to figure out where is the problem, why is it functioning not properly, and so on. It's the same way. Why is the upload not happening? Why is the download not happening? Why is it not saving?
One function is
Why
not
is it not
working.
rebooting? These are questions like how you have a smartphone. The brain is something like that. So I think it's very important for you to move from symptom to function. And that's what we have done here. It's a futuristic plan because the High Court of Karnataka wanted functional disability because they have to compensate function, not structure. So they
Yes.
have to understand how is it impacting the person's day-to-day work. And that's when they decided that, I convert it into three parts. Functioning as a person. That means getting up in the morning, brushing my teeth, having bath, shaving,
Doing the
getting
basic
ready, doing my
maintenance.
Yeah.
chores myself, yes, without anybody asking me. This is the first level of functioning, correct? As an
We
individual,
call it ADL, activities of daily living.
activities of daily living. Second is my functioning as a family member, as a father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever I'm supposed to do. Getting the children ready in the morning,
The
ironing the uniform.
social
Yes.
responsibility that we have.
Yeah.
Social response.
In the
Correct. No.
family.
Yeah. So is he able to do it like he or she able to do it like before? So if he doesn't, the other person gets all the stress at the end of
Yeah.
it. Thirdly, can this person go out and earn money and become a socially productive person? So these are three different things. So we have categorized in all three headings and come up with a very futuristic plan in the handbook called the Neuro Justice Framework Handbook, where I'm proposing a very new concept of how to assess this at different levels and give the court various levels of dysfunction so that they can put a number on that, whatever it is. So this is still a work in progress. This is what we intend to do.
So again, coming back to this, when you talk about the three aspects, the three different functions, does it even help a person, like a layman person, let's say me, and when I see an accident happening, probably in my family or friend circle, even understanding that there are changes, so probably I need to visit a neurosurgeon apart from a general surgeon. Does
Correct.
this even help, or does this become the first aid kit that usually happens? Like after a heart attack, we kind of know that CPR is the one thing that we should
Exactly.
know. Does
Exactly.
this do the same thing for uh, when people are involved in motor accidents very specifically?
Shall I take that question, Prathiba?
Yeah.
So you see, even today, how many people wear helmets? You tell me. Let's be honest.
I think
They
only
wear
people
helmet
wear it for
because
the sake of government's rule. A lot
savings.
of them, yeah,
Correct. No, no. If you
When they
are
see
not
the cost, they wear it.
yeah,
correct, not to pay fine.
yeah.
If you are not interested in this computer here, why should anybody else be interested? So let me give people, you'll hear people, they say, when they've been people, times I have, stopped near the signal and I would lower my window and say, why have you not worn the helmet? What's your problem? You mind your business. People have reacted like that to me. In Canada, they say, no, ನಿಮಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, like that. So I would wonder, my goodness, I'm trying to educate him to be safe and they're reacting like that. And then my young son used to say, Papa, he's your future patient. That's how people may laugh, whatever it is. But reality is 2024, this news came in Parliament and all the newspapers. If you Google and see, the year 2024, India had the highest number of deaths on the roads because of road traffic accident. I don't know whether you've heard that data. 177,000 Indians have died on the road, which
True.
means 485 people every single day. Which means, imagine if a terrorist is killing 485 people per day. Don't you think we will declare war?
Of
On the
course.
second day, we will declare war, our
It
first
would be a
day.
very severe crisis that everybody
Yes,
starts talking about.
True.
totally
Very
agree.
true.
But today, nobody bothers about
This
road
is
traffic accidents.
happening every day and for years. And it's only
Nobody is
increasing.
bothered. So how unfair is that? So we have to declare a war on head injuries and accidents. You look at it, this is the deaths I told you, which happens on the road or immediately when reaching the hospital.
And
It
these are
does not.
recorded deaths. Again, we are
Yeah.
talking what's
Yeah.
officially recorded.
Those people who died 1 week later, 1 month later, 6 months later, they are not recorded in this data. They're recorded somewhere else. So it will be at least 10% more. What about the people who survived and disabled and not back to work?
Yes.
And if these are the bread earners of the family who are going to build the nation, and all those nation builders are either dead or or in the
Only,
bed
yes.
and wheelchair born, who's going to build the next nation? So
True.
then finally, at the end of the day,
It asks important questions that in the
yes,
long run, it also affects not only just an individual, but the family as well as the
Absolutely.
society
yes,
at
absolutely.
the end of the
Absolutely.
So
day.
we are talking
The
here in this.
country by the end of the day.
Even about the golden hour, we're talking about the helmet, we're talking about alcohol, we're talking about the seat belt, we're talking about not sleeping and then driving the car, night drive. We're speaking about everything because we have to understand that sometimes the mistake can happen because, like pedestrians, people are walking all over the road. Yeah,
Even
why
they
blame
don't
only the
follow the
vehicles? No,
signals a
people
lot
are
of
talking
Yeah.
on the phone and walking, not looking at it, and somebody comes and hits them. Nobody's following rules. So you see, it is not a one dimension. It's a multi-dimension. It's an attitude problem. So unless Indians understand that each of them have to be disciplined, teach their children to be disciplined, I am telling you, this is going to be chaotic. The number of cases will increase. The judiciary is already overwhelmed with work. They will have more
Yes.
work.
They are
More
too
cases will happen.
overworked.
More
Again,
mess will
coming to
happen.
the backlog of cases, even is this aspect about motor accidents itself. Do you
Mhm.
think that your neurojustice movement, again, will that help in reducing these backlog of cases now that there is much more structure, at least in a book?
Yes.
And since with your experience of working in courts and with lawyers, will it reduce the backlog?
Correct. It becomes easier for the court to take decisions if
Hmm.
we give them a formula or a guideline or a format.
Yeah, a
Otherwise, they
structure.
are also struggling because they can't be experts of all subjects. So they are trying to read here, read there, try to figure out, put their efforts into it. They are doing a lot. But then how much can they do? So if we can find a way out for them to simplify it and make it faster, what is waiting for, like, I've heard that 4 years cases are
Yeah.
waitlisted, so they've not got the judgment. Now why wait for 4 years? Can we not finish it in 4 months and be done with it? And if we can give them a easier option with an app or something like that for the calculation, then it becomes much more easier for the judges and the court to take decisions. Only the calculation is done. Rest of it, they take their decision. They look at everything else and they take the decision. But at least that much easier and faster it can be. And definitely their load will come down because the number of cases are not going to come down.
Yeah, it's
I
increasing.
can't be very optimistic
Yeah.
about that. But even then, if we can actually help the courts to decide faster and revolve it out of the courts easier, I think it's definitely going to help the people.
I want to add
Indirectly,
something.
it's going to help the public.
I want to add, when we were in the process of writing the book about, somewhere in, I think, November 2025, an op-ed came in Deccan Herald, written by a lawyer about AI and accident tribunals. It's
Yes.
as if, somebody thought that we are writing a book and put that article in the paper. Literally, you should go and Google it and see AI and accident tribunals. And they are saying that 50% of the cases getting jammed in the courts is because of motor vehicle accidents,
Yes.
and they are struggling. So the whole goal of the neuro justice movement is, if we want to get consensus of everybody. See, there are 10 stakeholders here. Yeah, if you calculate. First is doctors like us
Yeah.
who are treating these
Experts
patients.
at a very
Correct.
high level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Next one is the petitioner's lawyers, the lawyers of the patient or the petitioner. Third
Patient.
one is the insurance lawyers. Fourth one are the judges.
Yeah, the
Fifth one is the insurance companies.
yeah.
Okay. Sixth one is the police. Seventh one is the people who make this mechanized wheelchairs, all of those things.
Hmm.
Eighth one is the NGOs who are
Patient
supporting
and the family.
Yeah.
the people on the supporting from the family. So there's so many stakeholders in this whole process who all need to come together.
Yeah.
You understand? So our goal through the neuro justice movement is try to get a consensus of everybody, take everybody's concerns and perspectives, and design an app which we have already started building. So that everybody's feedback is given. We'll trial it out, make it a pilot, and then everybody is acceptable that this output be subscribed to.
Yeah.
It's like your UPI. Everybody subscribing to the same
And
UPI,
everybody
Yeah.
has the knowledge also
Life is
yes,
Life
connected.
has
I
become so
agree.
simple with
Yeah.
UPI. So
Yeah.
exactly the same way if we can make for judiciary, I think we are going to be
It's,
blessed.
So we
yeah.
want to, yeah, we want to see how we can demystify this whole thing. Nobody should feel, insurance should not feel, hey, they're doing something and giving more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Nobody should feel, the patient should not think that, they're citing the insurance and they're
Yeah.
not giving me
Yeah.
enough money.
So
And
it's
it's
fair for
transparent.
everybody and like
Yes,
you said,
it's
Yes.
transparent and
transparent
fair.
for
It has to
everybody.
be
They can
fair.
get this. And if I say for this, I'll give you 10,000 rupees. For this, I will give you 1 lakh. For this, I will give you 3 lakhs. I'll give you a simple example. See, we also run an NGO, okay, and we try to do charity for patients who are not affordable. So recently, spinal cord injury, people who cut their spinal cord and they're paralyzed either from neck down or waist down. So we donated a set of motorized wheelchairs for spinal cord injury patients. See, normally motorized wheelchair, most of them are motorized inside the house for self-propelling. Now, this is a very interesting wheelchair motorized where they make a customized wheelchair for the person, and then a motor connects to the wheelchair with a big tire. And the moment he connects, this
The
person can go
front
on the road.
wheel of a two-wheeler with the handle. You can imagine
With
that.
the handle, he can go on the road. And
So
then
they
when they
have
reach the
access,
destination,
mobility access apart from
correct.
this.
No, but what is more important, Akshata, once they reach the destination, they can unconnect the wheelchair from the motor, and same wheelchair they can go. They don't have to transfer out.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
also
don't have to
become
go out.
independent in a way,
Exactly.
especially in our society where there is very less disabled
True.
Absolutely.
access.
So I'll give you an example. There was this 35-year-old lady who had a spinal cord injury, paralyzed, waist down. Husband had left her and gone. And poor lady, she was sitting at home crying because she had no income and she had one child. So when we gave her this motorized wheelchair, she became a Zomato delivery person.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? She cried.
Changed the
She was,
whole life.
yes. So my question is, why can't the insurance company make sure this wheelchair reaches this motorized wheelchair is part of the settlement amount?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
they can
you're
cut it
actually
from the
empowering the
settlement
person.
amount.
You're empowering the person to earn his own money.
Yeah.
We are looking at things like this to recommend also, so that we are not giving them the fish, we are teaching them how to fish.
Yeah.
We're
Basically, you're
empowering them
enabling
back.
the people.
Right. And it sounds like the same thing that how the neurojustice framework, the trilogy itself is a solution, not at only at the individual
Yes.
level, but also the society level where
Yes.
Yes.
it's not just about the court system or the police system or doctors,
No.
but rather how the individual who is
Full ecosystem.
affected can
Yes.
have a functional life post the accident and the
Correct.
family as well.
Absolutely. See, there's one more thing. I don't know whether you're aware. There are mediation centers in the court called Lok Adalats,
Yeah.
where they're trying to settle the cases outside the court. I mean, they're
Yeah.
inside the court,
But
but it's a formal
yeah.
thing, but they settle. So this will also help in Lok Adal, because then what will happen is the
Yes.
whole thing, if everybody is happy, it can get
Yeah.
settled quickly. No.
Time
Correct.
also reduces.
Yeah, because
Time
everyone is
is saved.
agreed. Everyone is agreed already to each of these items.
Yeah.
Because we have already subscribed. Next thing is with the app that we are building, we bring AI in. So 2 years later, 3 years later, if you go back and analyze all the things that has happened, oh, in these cases we gave more money. In this cases we should have given different money.
Yeah.
In this case we so this
There is
AI
an
will
understanding
this
also.
information.
Right.
The wisdom will come in. Today nobody has wisdom.
Yeah.
So all this we want to do so that 5 years, 10 years from today, after 10,000, 20,000 cases, lot of wisdom is then appropriate, just compensation is given.
Thank you. Thank you so much, doctors, for sharing such
Thank you,
enlightened
Akshita.
information with us in such simple language and helping us understand how this can solve larger problems in the society. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.